Hello and welcome. Our the story said we are back. Yes, I had some much needed R&R. In as much as I like Facebook and social media and to bring you these stories, there's a time when I need to step away and take care of myself. It was my birthday month in January, and since I started this show at the beginning of COVID, I'd like to take every January off, and I've been taking every January off. Thanks for sticking with me. Yes, we need to take some rest from social media and things like that. So, how have you been? How have you been a do? What go on? How been a go on? I see I've been looking at all them old shows and things. Yes. And here in Japan, we had the big earthquake. Well, I wasn't here for the earthquake, but one night when I came back, the earthquake was rocking and I was sleeping and I was saying, we proper enjoy this rocking. Yes, so me not enjoy until me catch myself, blouse and skirt, get up, yeah. We get up, put on the clothes. hmm Well, things are settled down. So what we doing today? We talking story. Those of you who here for the first time, I'm Pauline Baird and I tell stories. I tell the whispered stories and family histories and long lost and forgotten traditions. And like we say in the village, how what the stories say? Story for you. I've been thinking, but love in the village. This is a month of love, they say. I'm not too much with the trend, but I thought, let me go with it this time. See, I'm wearing red. When you're out, Valentine time, you wear red, right? Yeah, so I decided to wear red today. It's my favorite color, this kind of red, this dark red and so. All right, so love a village. Why did I think about this? Because this is the month they celebrate love and Valentine and whatever. And also, I wanted to look at the village in ways that maybe you haven't looked at the village, or even I have not looked at the village in a while. So I like to say, like they do in ethnography, look at the familiar strange and the strange familiar. So now we dig in. Love a village. I want to start with the unlikely pairings or likely pairings. When you talk about love, we can talk about love of food. When you pick me, you grow up, you have to get your bread and butter, your tennis roll and cheese, cream soda and milk. Them are pairings, right? That people like. Your roti and curry, your dal curry and curry. What else? Hmm. Your curry and your soup, your fufu and your soup. Hmm. Your plantain and duff, make black man tough. Yeah, I remember that. Yes. But food aside, let me talk about pairings of humans, a village. And when I think about the pairings of human, a village, one couple, famous couple, come to my mind. You got it right. Suru and Duru. Hmm. Them are the lovebirds. Suru and Duru is a false name or nickname given to a couple in our village, right? Literal couple. And it's also a metaphor for behaviors between love, people in love, insofar as they're inseparable, or we say tied at the hips. If you see one, you see the other. And Suru and Duru can go for love relationships, it can go for filial relationships, it can go for other kinds of relationships, platonic relationships, your partner, your me, your friend, your bosom friend, them that can be like Suru and Duru, right? So, for example, if you see me friend Cherry Glen and me going down the street, you say, hey, then to that Suru and Duru. Hmm. But when it comes to the man woman, I don't know who is Suru and I know who is Duru. But in me mind, Suru is the female, Duru is the man, right? Who knows? Take it how you take it. If I the opposite, I will have fight. That's how it go. So, Suru and Duru. My research this week was to find out who in the world are Suru and Duru. How would them that be? Well, me find out that then two people listen to me say, always see a village and walk up and down, always together. Me name Miss Maylene and Mr. Wax, or Wax and Maylene. I know them. Me hear them in live a friendship back dam site between Brush Dam and Friendship Road, somewhere Wilkins Street side, related to them Aaron. Yes. But if my mind serve me right, are you tell me if me right or wrong? The man Wax and I say man they me call dog appearance. I think. You think a dog appearance, Let me tell you one little story aside. My story little convoluted. This man Wax, if a he in dog appearance, the man never get peace a village. My sister Jem was a big police officer. Me sure she been 25 years old or so. See the man pan brush down. She and my cousin Monty them wicked subtle, them proper like mischief. She them me auntie gallery. The gallery at the front part of the house. She did it. When she see the man come up near, she had a dark appearance and she duck. And them a laugh. The man go along the way the wife a go. Mm-mm. One day she go walk in she police officer uniform and there is Mr. Dog appearance coming up the street with the wife. And he said, Officer, morning. I'm glad to know that you live on this road eh? Because then get some people at that house always a trouble me. The sister said she nearly dead. She said, who a trouble? He said, I mean, I know. Then she know she clear. She said, what am I trouble you say? He said, nobody with that, but me want you for talk to them. She said, all right. When the man gone, she said she dead with laugh all the way to road top. Wickedness. So this name Suru Anduru, just like a dog appearance, is false name, right? And sometimes false name just get bad response, sometimes you get good response. But everybody in my village, at least 90% or even more got a false name. And according to Dr. I feel false name not woman thing, a man thing. But woman just get false name too. Because me great aunt gave one false name. Hmm. All right, so you got Suru and Duru. I am very interested in knowing their story. Why were they always together? Why they always going and coming together? But for the purpose of this story here today, I want to say I'm curious because it takes a special kind of connection for people to always be together. Once you see them a road, then they're together. In the days gone by, I would assume that they just like to do things together. They're dependent on each other in some ways. But in today's society, when a man and a woman together all the time, it's not always looked upon as a good thing. They say toxic relationships. You know, when you go to college and you start getting a boyfriend, and so you always want to latch on to you, vice versa. The guy get the girl and she always want to latch on. It's a toxic. They say those relationships are not to be condoned because they have some level of coercion or codependency or abuse involved. So I am curious to know what was going on in Maylene and Wax's life. So if y'all know, tell me if they got children, find out why they were always together. But for me, I admired that. To me, that was love, a village. When I think about love, a village, I started to think, who else comes to mind? And you know who come to mind? Teacher Julie and Teacher Dasley. If I get a picture, I'll put it up there. Teacher Dasley was dark and I dare say handsome in his day. Dapper, dark and smooth, like back down water. Hmm. And Teacher Julie was short and, take no offense, round. She was curvy and motherly. Ask your mother or your grandmother if she ever been in Teacher Julie class because Teacher Julie would have taught a whole several generations of people from the early 70s, I assume, all the way back, maybe 50s and stuff. Teacher Julie was such a motherly lady. I tell you, I learned at the bosom of Sister Julie because she had ample bosom. And when she take you under she armpit, she tuck you in so. I try to find something. So my pen case. She tuck you in there and she hold your hand and you draw a around and down, around and down. That's how I learned to read and write. Teacher Julie was a motherly woman, seemed to be always jolly. And Teacher Daisy, like he just laid back. And she called it Teacher Dasley or Dasley, and they're talking. I see them go to church together. They go to church functions together. I want to interview Rollo Young. I passed the message to find out who were they? How did he experience them? How did y'all experience them? But for me, I hold them up as a couple that show love a village. Teacher Julie taught me. Teacher Dasley didn't teach me in school, but at the time when Guyana was going through this change in its education system, where they were saying grammar must be caught and not taught, my mother didn't believe in that. So she sent me to Teacher Dasley to learn grammar. Three people she sent me to Teacher Dasley, Teacher George, and A.U. Sequoia, Baba A.U. Sequoia. 7 years old, I got to learn grammar, and I was glad for that because what it taught me was a whole lot about linguistics, which I love to this day. Linguistics, not because we can speak many languages, the scientific study of language. That's it. All right. So I'm grateful for that. If you go to Julie a house, she got Ginger Bear, she got Papa. She used to get Skinny. Yeah, I remember Skinny. You know, Skinny family. She used to get Skinny for climb a coconut tree, and them tree for bring down all them fruit and thing. Is a house always had people, doors always open. That is love a village. When everybody condemn Skinny and so Skinny a thief, Teacher Julie didn't show with Skinny. And even when she catch a thief up, she coconut tree nighttime with flashlight, she still forgive him. Yes. Who else do I think of when I think about Love a Village? Me think about me think about siblings love. Siblings. Who will forget the great Pam and Pinky? Pam and Pinky Dagool. Them two up in a brother and sister according to the split press, they always a market or surround box and market. Pinky always rowing with somebody. Either them troubly and he run behind them or he kind of bag of rice or rice dorsey. Them market people selling him here and there to do errands like that. I could see him by Chandaban area, by Vasconcelos, by them Grant House there, doing the thing on the road. Get all his singlet and pants. He always look disheveled. And he not took Catholic he. And Pam, she too not be Catholic. Every time I think about Pam, I think about quarrel. And like she didn't get a little stutter. She always like, she always a quarrel. I say a song to me. She like she mouth a fire off bullet and so. But I see him Pam in a green and black dress in my mind's eye. And she get on one hat crooked pan she head. Like one old felt that. And she get one broom in she hand. And she a sweet market. I remember Pam. Pam and Pinky, they were sister and brother to me, and they give the village color. Obviously, they had some kind of special needs thing going on. Mhm. And the village helped them, look out for them. They had work to do. People used to trouble them, which I want to come to because people with special needs are very vulnerable. They're the most, or one of the most vulnerable populations in our village. We'll talk about that a little later in this month. But Pam and Pinky. When I think about love a village, I think about filial love. Stink bug in my house. And I think about two women, sisters, Maisie and Dinah, the Ogle sisters. Teacher Maisie and Teacher Dinah. They had another sister named Amy, but she didn't feature too much because I didn't know about Teacher Amy until like way later. Like she lived somewhere else. But Teacher Maisie taught in the bush. If I find her picture, I'll put it in here. I saw it somewhere. I might have it in my storage, but if not, yeah, I'll post it. She was tall and skinny and stately. She looked like a little girl back then, but very tall, and she was working in the bush of the interland. So these women had vast experience with teaching, and they had gone away, maybe taught in the bush, in the city. I don't know if they taught in the village, because not in my time. I didn't experience them as teachers in the village in my time. They could have been there, and I didn't know. But I know them at Ogle Street in this big house. They had a brother, and he came to live there much later, but it's the two of them, Maisie and Dinah. They were the village record bearers. They wrote every birth, every death within a period of time. And they were looked up to. So I liked their love and their sisterly love. It was to me looking in something to emulate. You could go to their house, you get a drink of water, and guess what? We the same kids who stoning down the golden apple tree. Yeah, we used to stone the golden apple tree. If there's one fruit that doesn't give its fruit willingly, it's golden apple. You got to stone them down, or you got to fall by itself. Well, they had a big tree, but they made allowances for us kids. And as a child looking up to them, they represented love or a relationship to admire. Mhm. Another relationship that comes to mind in the village, I'm looking at men. Hmm. Two men, friends, Monty Griffith, because Monty and Wayne Rogers, they were gay. I'm not saying they were a couple, but they were known to be good friends and gay. In the village, I'm not ashamed to say people have gross intolerance for gay people. Not me, not me. Me cousin Monty is the best cousin in the whole world. You talk about smart, you talk about a teacher extraordinaire, a wicked musician on the piano, he could tear it up. Flamboyant dresser, full of laughter and fun. You talk about fun. Oh, Monty is fun. And I remember his relationship, he and Wayne, they dressed to the nines. Hmm? I like that. I like that. And then I think about, oh, I hear about this one. Let me get my phone to tell you this story. Somebody tell me this story. Hmm. I got to get you this story. Hold on, hold on. So, then I get them two women this name, Alga and Mary. Never box down. Everywhere you go, then they're together. If a Annandale market, then go together. A Buxton market, they go together. Buxton Dam, they do together. Brush Dam, they together. Court magistrate, court police station, everything they together. Them is like bosom body, bosom friend. So Mary and Alga used to go back down, go pick mango. So when they go for pick this mango, Bina attack them. B attack them. You know, you pick mango and you pack up thing. You're there in your boat, that canoe, you know, for playa company trench. So when they jump in at the boat and the bee then start circling them, them got to jump overboard. And Maria say, "Be Alda be." Mary said, "Be." Mary say, "Be Alga be." Alga said, "Duck Mary duck." So you can imagine a back dam. Be Alga be, duck Mary duck. Somebody with a fast self hear them people. You know by time they left back dam and reach out a box and you know what their name? Be Alga be, duck Mary duck. Ada. Funny as ever. I saw them left with his name. Mhm. I know the story. I talk a thing. What IDs village get? Buxton village is a whole vibe by itself. That's what I say. Buxton capital of Guyana. It's a microcosm of what happened in other parts of Guyana and other villages. And when I talk about me village, not because me selfish, you got village too. So I want to jog your memory about you village. And who then there? Who do you emulate? and who show love. All gonna marry like each other, then I want to be bite them up, right? So then look out for one another. But that stupid body will give them name, shame pan you, shame pan you. And then you want another couple. When you talk about marry, me do my research, I brush them back, then you get one couple that come into the village. Then been a one strange couple. Been a two woman. One them been tall and fine. And when I say fine, I mean American fine, like, you know, you're looking good. She was a good looking woman, but fine means skinny in Guyanese parlance. When you find you're skinny. And she was a fine lady. And I can see she wearing a no sleeve dress, a little white dress. And beside she should get another woman, a short one. Can't remember if she been fine too. Well, I mean, I think she been fine, but damn the name, Mary and Dini. Mary, Mary and Dini come with some women, you know where they come from, what village they come from, but they appear in Buxton village one day at Brush Dam, just past them Chester. And them the used to cook funny according to Buxton people. My friend tell me that the first time she know people just boil squash. I ever boil squash. Mary and Dini boil squash. Now we know you take squash and put them in curry and shrimp and squash and beef and squash. And then get people at Buxton who even make squash pop. They get on Marvin squash pop. Where they go with this thing, man? The Marvin squash pop. But them two days, Mary and Dini, them boil squash. Well, why you laugh the people for make squash, but you not buy them too? Please. So then there was a famous couple. Everywhere they went together. I want to think that because they came from out of the village, they needed each other company. Or maybe there was much more going on there. Were they codependent? Were they a little bit odd for some reason? I don't know what their story, but they appeared noticeable because they didn't belong there and they were always together. So when I think about it, love in the village, it could be that they were just siblings looking out for each other. Ooh, Buxton Front. Who are the lovebirds or people that I could think about to emulate? I can't think. Faye and Ray help me out, no man. Who the Buxton Front? Buxton back damn side. Friendship back damn side. Ooh, there's this couple that comes to mind, which I want to explore further this week when I think about Love a Village. Because you see, when we think about Love a Village, we think about, um, you know, successful man woman relationships. In Buxton Village, people don't think about, like same sex relationships is something frowned upon. But I don't think everybody else, not everyone frowns on it. And I don't want to get political with that. I have my own views. Um, but they think about successful male female relationships. When boys courting girl and things like that, they think about those relationships. And a lot of times we think of them in very narrow ways. So this week, I want to explore this love relationship as pairings, likely and unlikely. And, you know, let me tell you one thing. When I was researching love in the village, I decided to look at it from a rhetorical point of view. How do we do love? What does love look like? And how do we know that? From what we observe among ourselves. We can also look in our stories to find what love looked like. And one of the love relationships that, I don't know if it's love, that we heard about in our singing is Sanko and the lover. Because we sing Sanko, licky love upon the dam, and with the gyal holla, right? That is another kind of relationship. That's a toxic relationship, right? Violent, abusive, and things like that. We'll get to that later. So I decided to also look at our lore and our sayings to find love, what love looked like, what it sounded like, and what was passed on from generation to generation. As we know, we have Proverbs. This is one of my books. Um, the mirror is not, I'm not mirroring properly on this camera, but this one is called Encounters, Afro Caribbean Proverbs. It's a journal, and Whispers in Our Ears, Afro Caribbean Journals, because I hear our ancestors in the things that they say in the Proverbs. And one historian or ethnographer, I don't know what he was, but he lived in British Guyana back in the 1900s, and he wrote Guyanese proverbs, African Guyanese proverbs. And he made an observation. I don't have it in front of me to read it, but in essence, what he said, when he searched the proverbs, there's no proverb that talks about love. And I thought, that's interesting. But they are proverbs, when you think of their intent, is meant to show love. So it seems as though we didn't say love, we did love. And I must say, in my upbringing, I don't remember people saying, I love you. It's not like, in American society and Western society, love you, love you. That was not something I grew up with. Does that make me a deficient human being? I don't know. I don't think so. Because I knew that my parents loved me. I knew my family loved me because they demonstrated love, even if they didn't say, I love you. And that might be the experience of many Guyanese or Boxonian Guyanese and people in other parts of the world. I know I've lived in communities where people didn't say, I love you, but they demonstrated. I remember my father used to show love by cuddling us and biting our necks and cheeks. Oh gosh, so annoying. And so when we got older, I just like, yeah, and then he stopped. And then when he came to America to see my sister and my sister's kids, my sister said, listen, let me tell you something. Don't bite me, pick me them. Like this country, you go to jail for that. So, so he couldn't do that. He couldn't show love the way he showed love to us. How did you get love shown to you? Okay, how did that go? And how do you show love to your own kids if you were brought up in a society or a home where love was not spoken about as it's spoken about today or demonstrated today in words? So I'm saying all of this to say that that's how love was perceived. Now, if it's perceived as not being spoken among a larger majority of people, what about the minority communities in our villages? You might ask me, what am I talking about? Village is a small community. Now, within the village, you have minority communities. You get the gays, you get the straights, you get the other, and all kinds of stuff. But you also have the disabled or the ones with special needs. Mhm. They are in our communities. But that's not what I'm here today to talk about. I'm here to talk about love among the disabled. Should the disabled love? Should they marry? Can they marry? How do they marry? Are there support systems for people who are disabled to find love and be in love? Do they need love? Are they entitled to love? Who says how they love, when they love, if they should love at all? Because sometimes people who have disabilities are locked up at home. They are controlled in ways that can be abusive. And I think in societies like ours, and even today's world, people with disabilities make up one of the most vulnerable populations in the world, any place. There are horror stories of how people treat them, how people handle them, abuse of all kinds. What about the village? You see, this business of troubling people, especially when they have disabilities, is a very concerning thing. So I'm going to talk to my people directly and say, have empathy, have compassion. Sometimes the things people are doing, they can't help it. I know they used to have a Portuguese man we used to call stop off. I think. Can't remember the other name. He used to throw like uh, antics like strange movements and stuff. Now that I'm older, I'm coming to think that this man had Tourette syndrome. My gosh, and we trouble the man for so. But the days of ignorance got to stop. Have empathy for your fellow men. They might behave in ways that you don't behave, but that doesn't mean they don't have special gifts. You know, they have the special gifts. And so one of the couples that I want to think about that I really love their love, I really love their love, is Ozzy and Jylene. Yeah, I know them? Ozzy and Jylene. Me don't know Ozzy last name. Me don't know Jylene last name. But we just know about Ozzy and Jylene. Let me tell you how me come to think about them. When I was thinking about this lover village, like I said, I look at the village like a strange place and see what the things that may appear strange. So I step back and say, what about this village and look right? And what look right? And to me, Ozzy and Jylene's story look right, but it's an unlikely pairing. Let me describe Ozzy for you. Ozzy is like average height, maybe 5'9" or so. You know, slim build, slender build. Got some muscles on him. Well proportioned, dressed nice, short in pants with belt. None of this but crack business. Not slovenly, well dressed, and always clean. He always seemed to be going somewhere. You know, he gets sent on errands. He would do handyman jobs and things like that. He lived with Brother Lou. Brother Lou was a Portuguese mixed man. Mhm. Um, yeah, high color. And he lived with a woman who I believe was his sister. I don't remember her name, but yeah, correct me. They used to live behind Miss Curtin. You know, when Buxton Railway Embankment, there was a train line. You had Mr. Newton's shop before you get to Brush Dam. And they had this lady, Miss Curtin. I think she was a seafarer woman because plenty people used to go there, Indian, black, everybody, for go and get them, their life read to them. Yes. And if you go through Miss Curtin Bridge and walk through the Carencrow Bush, you're going to meet Brother Lou. And then you're going to meet them, the Freitas. And then you get Faber, them, a cousin, them. And if you go forward, you're going to meet them, Pat Adams and Kay and them. And what is the name? Bort Adams, them, Teacher Bell. If you bust through the lot. Well, how me know? Because Pickney like me and Sylvie Land and always there at every lot. We don't walk around, as Pickney. We there through lot. We like lot. Can't go bush, bellyache, and all them thing down. Yeah. So we know Ozzy from there. Well, me know Ozzy's a young boy and teen. Well, I was a child. I had to be younger than 10 years old because I didn't live in that place after 10 years old. But I observed him and he'd be at Brother Lou house Sunday morning and cook soup and thing as he eat the thing. But as he had a severe speech impediment. When he talked, you could hardly hear what he said. You could hear, but it muffled. It come out muffled, and you couldn't form all his vowels and stuff and words. But if you try hard enough, which you did, you can understand what he's saying if you spend the time. His facial features were not like the regular male facial features. You could look at him and tell that he has a disability. But there was something going on with him. But I say this not to cast aspersions, but to give you an idea that this is a man with a disability, okay? A young man with a disability making his life in the world. Should he love? Should he be loved? Can he love? You know? Well, Brother Lou's house was a low house, maybe about 5.5 feet off the ground. For those of you who are listening to me, you listen to me all over the world, China, everywhere, and you're not Guyanese sometimes. Well, in Guyana, we are 7 feet below sea level, thereabout. So if you live on the East Coast, where I've come from, everybody or most people built on stilts, not nowadays. They're building cement house, or according to the Buxton people, America house, States house. They want States house with cement and flat and upstairs and downstairs. So most of the houses were on stilts, or what we call posts. Well, Brother Lou house was on posts, bungalow, cottage. and about 4.5 feet off the ground. So when people have houses like that, they call it the bottom house, whether it's 18 feet tall or 5 feet tall or whatever, you get bottom house because bottom house is a living area where you do all kinds of stuff. You cook there, you bake there, you sleep there, you mind children there, you feed chicken there. It's a place to do everything. It's an everything place. So as an aside, when you bring the states house now, the bottom house culture gonna go away. People, I get sense. When I build a house with a cement, and so please left on bottom house. I try with the culture. If I not put a bottom house, put back a bottom house for me now. Put on back. Daba man so. Teach I picnic for get leisure there. And let a culture happen there. Mm-hmm. Or you go do the quick way, eh? Or you go do the Nancy. Where you pull up all the old bottom house. So anyway, Brother Lou get the 4.5 feet bottom house. And one day, me see them bar up the bottom house and close it in. So me say, like a brother, look go mind chicken down there because the place low. It good for chicken. Or maybe you put goat. Nothing to all go so. One day, when I would go through that, when I need no Sylvie been there with me. Guess what? Jilin a duck in there with Ozzy, them a bend down so a duck in. Me say, Jilin and Ozzy friends in? Them there? Them a sore? Them a coating? I saw. I was beyond belief. How come as you get a girl? The girl nice, nice. If you see how she's smooth and things so and she got the me say our story days when me know that me got to know more about the story. So me decided to make it my business this time. For find out from Jylin's sister of what the story say. I'm gonna bring her the story. She tell me what the story say. So I'm gonna tell her you. Well, so I get for y'all today. That's it. As usual, walk good.